and we don't see that used much at all, so it's hard to say. Yeah. Because I don't think the map is played perfectly yet.
Well, we know Belshire Vestige is, I wouldn't say a figured out map, but it's been tested many, many of times. In the bottom right-hand corner has the Red Terran, the IVD Gamer. It is Apocalypse! Just checking if the crowd was sleeping on me. Top left-hand corner, the Blue Protoss. It is Invictus Gaming's Jim. A lot of Apoc fans. A lot of Apoc fans.
Well, his performance today definitely won him some fans, I think.
Yeah.
He showed some very solid
At
Terran
least,
play,
how many are
even
here?
in
Like
loss.
100? Yeah, at least 100. You have the hearts of 100. Yeah, Apocalypse has been impressing me. I think this is definitely going to be the start of a illustrious career. And a lot of people would say, well, he's popular in Wings of Liberty. I don't think not nearly to the extent that he is right now. And I'm looking forward to see how he does, especially on a foreign team. I always like to see that. And I like to see how Apocalypse will influence his other teammates as well. But Jim over here, he's kind of been the leader in the Chinese scene.
One of the leaders.
One of the leaders.
A couple others. Calm.
F90X,
F90X,
Maxed, Shigua,
Shigua, those
Shy.
are definitely some of the leaders.
Yeah, but and also Top, can't forget about him. So there's been a lot. Don't get me wrong, but Jim is the only Chinese player to make it to rank 1 Grandmaster Korea.
Yes.
And I think there's a very few people in the world, maybe countable in the world, that can say they were rank 1 Korea.
Probably like 40.
40?
Maybe
Really?
more.
You think there's that many?
Probably. I mean, because at any given time, I think there's the people in the top 5. Any of them can probably hit top 1 at some point in a month if they all practice really hard every day.
That's all right, and especially if one of those players is like inactive because they're traveling or something.
Yeah, and there's a lot of months in StarCraft too. So.
Okay, you're right. Well,
But still, very few.
very few. You're looking at
Recently.
0.00001% of the world.
And in the past several months, very, very, very few. Just can say that.
Yes.
And Jim is one of them.
Jim's one of them. And Apocalypse just beat a rank 1 GM Master. Or GM Grandmaster. Okay, whatever. It's very late.
It is late.
So, bravo, Apocalypse. Bravo. Reaper getting in here, doing a little damage against the first Zealot. Are we going to see an eBay block? No. Stalker right behind him.
I also like his name. Apocalypse is a good name for a StarCraft player, in my opinion.
I think so. Do you like APOC as a nickname?
APOC is a good nickname. That'd be my Twitter name if I was Apocalypse too.
Yeah.
Easy for people to
Pretty
follow.
sick. What do you think of like something like Gausser though?
I think it's a horrible name.
It has a certain charm to it though. Gausser. It is very confusing. I know we've talked about this before, Ghost User.
But the best thing about it is if anyone like insults me, I can be like, but you can't even spell my name.
What?
Like, if you're like, Gausser's so stupid and your Terran is really bad, then I'm like, but you can't even spell my name. And I get you there.
You got us.
I got you.
You got me. Alright, well, what do we see so far? Factor going down for Apocalypse. Is he going for a Banshee?
Nope, it's a Widowmine drop.
But why is he building his starport like that?
What do you mean? He's just building it.
It's right next to it though. He can't put an add-on.
So why do you think it's Banshee is?
Because of the positioning.
I don't see how this positioning indicates Banshees.
Because you make a tech lab.
But he's not
You
going to make a
switched
tech
over.
lab because he's making mines.
Well, I'm saying, well, why would you place your starport there if you can't put an add-on over there? And then you have
I
to lift it
think
up.
that this is the distance away from the ramp, where if a probe walks up the ramp, it can't see the starport.
Well, you can just place it up here.
I mean, you could, but I think this is about the exact distance that if a probe goes up the ramp.
You want to
it
give
can't
me
see it.
odds that a Banshee pops out of here?
Okay. What odds are you giving me?
Hold on, just wait. Just wait. I want to see the tech lab right now, and then you can give me out. I'll give you odds. Okay, forget it. Well, why would you put it like this? Why would you mess with me?
So
That's why I was so confused.
When I play Protoss, I always like to put all my gates next to each other, like directly next to each other. So maybe it's kind of that sort of thing. You want your bonus to be touching each other, hugging each other, keeping each other warm.
Maybe. Okay, now you're just messing with the Apocalypse. Okay, it's not gonna be Banshees. I'm not giving you odds.
Why would he lift them and land them
I don't
like that?
know.
It must be for Banshees.
No! Okay. He could have easily just put him, boom, one here, and he'd be fine.
I can't see anything on your screen. It's all dark from this angle.
He needs to look over a little bit better. Oracle on the way over to the natural. This might do a little bit of damage. I love the,
I love anyone who sends the Oracle onto the natural before the main. Because it's so common nowadays to defend the main with your first group of Marines or your first turret.
And there is an observer to stop all of these shenanigans. Widowmine will be able to get a good, nice
just barely
there.
before it died.
6 kills. The Oracle's still not going in yet.
That definitely paid for itself.
It did. It most certainly did. What are you doing, Oracle? You can do something? Is he accruing energy?
No, he just forgot about it. You don't need to accrue this much energy. This is enough energy to kill every worker in his main and his natural if he doesn't pay attention.
It's a lot of energy. I don't know. He's making me apprehensive. Like, why aren't you using it? Okay, he definitely moved it.
Yeah. Now he noticed it again. It was just that Widowmine drop distracted him.
I guess so. Okay, now moving in, not deciding to kill any SCVs, really. Saying, no, I don't want to kill SCVs. Oh, blah, 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 blah. And he's going to back out of here. Everything's okay. Third command center being taken by Apocalypse. Very intelligent for the style that he knows Jim. As we can see, Jim is massing up in the Phoenix count. He's at 1 Phoenix right now. 2 Phoenixes, excuse me. And you can't really push on anybody if you're going Phoenixes, right? Like,
yeah, it's difficult. Until you have a pretty large supply, it's tough to push because you don't have as many units to tank for the class on the ground.
That's right. And Phoenixes really don't do a lot. They're supporting units, but in this case, there's not even a high Viking count, so you can normally be overwhelmed on the low ground. So taking a fast third makes so much sense, and I would even say just go up to double starport immediately after 5 barracks. But I feel like Jim kind of plays against that so much, right? Like, this is the style that he's known for. Everybody knows Jim for... oh, no. He's on barcode account. Never mind. Nobody can know it's Jim. I was like, yeah, on ladder, he's just going to get hard countered every time, so he has a lot of experience with this. But I forgot. Barcodes. What do you think about barcodes? Do you think they should be eliminated?
Yes.
You play on barcodes, though, right?
No, I play on Smurfs.
Oh.
I just play on accounts with different names that aren't barcodes.
Do you have any hilarious ones?
No, I don't know. Maybe.
Why don't you tell us them?
No, then they wouldn't be Smurfs anymore.
I tried. And Apocalypse is just feeding. This is going to be an 0 and 8 medevac right now. Just poking in, trying to see a third base. But I don't think anything really is going to come of it. Just saturating his third. Apocalypse is going to saturate his third. He shouldn't be too aggressive here. Like, he knows, okay, I've invested so much into getting an expansion. It really doesn't make sense for me to put pressure on my opponent like this. But again, as I said, 0 and 8. Yeah, 0 and 8. Oh! 1 and 8, sorry. He got 1 kill.
1 count.
A zealot.
There's
Not
so
worth
much
it.
blood when the units die on high graphic settings.
You should turn off the gore mode or whatever.
Yeah, I just never realized this because I always play on all low. Like some pro gamers, I know some play on high, some play on low. But I play on low, so I'm always so surprised when I like watch games instead of play games because it looks so different on the physics and effects.
Looks so much better, right? Blizzard, good job.
It does look good.
All right, and we see the same thing that we've seen before. Apocalypse just amassing up in a large amount of units as possible, but he doesn't have the supply lead this time. Of course, the drops, that's the main thing. 2-2 on the way. That's also another big difference, and he's looking for a 2-2 timing. Splitting up yet again. There's a lot of Phoenixes out on the map, 12 in total. and needs to be careful because these Marines can easily just get picked up and absolutely decimated. And we're gonna see. Oh god.
That did not go too well.
Mistakes were made. We can say that. Mistakes were made.
He killed a Phoenix or two, didn't he?
He killed one Phoenix, I believe. Yeah, one Phoenix. You know, you want to be careful not doing that type of stuff because remember, you are gearing up for this 2-2 timing push, and now it's going to be behind because you could have been 2-0 against 0-0. Like, what a glorious feeling. Every single Marine is just man mode. Doing incredible damage, 8 damage to the shield, 7 damage to the internal structure. That's a stark contrast. But now, he's pretty equal supply, and he's going to be pushing out 0-0 or 2-2, about to finish. And this is still the timing that exists. It's just not as strong as we've seen before, but it still exists. The Viking count is at 10. He does need a couple more. And he's getting them 4 at a time.
Yeah. How many do you think you should get before you push as a Terran player? What's the ideal number of Vikings you would want?
I would say at least 16.
What's the max number of Vikings you would go to?
24.
I think that sounds reasonable. You could get 16. 2 rounds of
It's
reduction.
actually, to me, it sounds pretty unreasonable, 24. Because by that time, your opponent should be switching out.
To Templar, yeah.
It's a Templar, but Jim doesn't do that. So that's why I would say 24. If normally I would just stop around 16 and only go to 24 if I was trading out SCVs. But 16 is really like the kind of the max you want to hit.
You can pretty much one-shot anything with 16 Vikings.
Yes, you can. You absolutely can. But I think the threshold is like 14. That it actually stops doing that. It depends on upgrades, but normally Protoss has the upgrade advantage. I've never actually gone into a situation where they're equal.
And I think he agrees with you, Andre. He now has about 19 Vikings. 17 actually. I think. No, 18 Vikings. And it looks like he's about to push.
There's 2 different
you're
ways
dead
to
on.
micro this.
One is you can hug the cliffs and try to take shots at anything that comes
Yeah,
close.
it's like a kiting style.
And the other one is you split them all out as much as you can and just engage and try to target fire the Colossi first, I think?
Yeah, the other one is just you just scan, take your Vikings, right-click all the Colossi, and then just dance on the edge with your Marines and Marauders, never being in Colossus range, but always being in range of like Marines and or Zealots and Stalkers.
And if you can get 3 to 4 of the Colossi, then often your Bioforce can just overwhelm him.
Exactly.
Because he has so much of his supplies invested in the Phoenixes.
It's 2-2 against 1-1, and what type of style we're going to see? It looks like just a straight-up engagement. No, the Marines and Marauders!
Yep, dancing back.
Yep, they're just going to dance back, and there's good target fire. You can see how fast the Colossus are going down, and it's just by last Colossus needs to go down because he wants to land these Vikings. Now he's going to lose all these Vikings. Really unfortunate. That's pretty valuable time, but still in a good position. If he would have landed, he would have like 10 more Vikings there. But now this is a pretty reasonable force to clean up from this. And the problem now is that Phoenixes can snowball out of control. Right? They can maintain that air control and just keep tabs over top these starports.
And there's so few units on the ground from Apocalypse, then any fight, they can just start picking up lots of units now.
That's right. That's right. So Apocalypse, what he needs to do is just stabilize, remake all of his units, but that takes a lot of time, and you can see he's down to 124 supply. It was a good fight to start out with, but even that small amount of time, you need to reinforce the ground army because you give up so much supply in air to hard counter the Colossus. You have to be lacking a little bit in your ground. So just drop immediately, and then you'll be able to dominate everything that's down there.
Yep. Behind this, though, Apocalypse was not all on at all to that timing. He has several extra orbitals, just for the mules, and he has Ghost as well now. So.
And he will be approaching this situation where he'll be maxed and building a bank, and he has a lot of orbital command centers, so he can start trading
trade out his
SCVs.
SCVs.
And that's a great position. You want to get down to around 30 to 40 harvesters in that
Do you
position.
think he should be more Marauder heavy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one criticism I would have of what he's been doing so far.
He can't, though.
Yeah, his
he
barracks all
absolutely
have reactors.
because you want to get Ghost in this composition, and at the same time, you want to make mass Vikings.
Well,
And-
maybe he could a little bit. He has about 5 or 6 Tech Lab reactors, or Tech Lab
I mean,
barracks.
technically he could, but he's just prioritizing a Ghost right now
Yeah.
because he wants to defend against potential High Templar switches.
Yeah.
Right? He's just being very comprehensive with his composition.
And now he has a 3rd starport, so he can make 6 Vikings at a time now.
Looking good. That's what you need to do.
Yep.
You need to be able to burst down the composition as much as possible and keep up with the Protoss, because normally they're dictating stuff at the end game
And
scenario.
You're correct, Jim. He hasn't yet switched into the Psystorm. He has Archons in the field now, but not attempting to go for the Storm yet.
Nope, he doesn't do that. Doesn't do it at all.
He's just confident in his mix of units.
And this can still work well. Surprisingly, Marine heavy armies will be able to still crush this. Again, you use the same micro that you just saw, but the units tab 17 Vikings not going to be enough against 17 Phoenixes. Right?
And I think he has the upgrade for them too.
Oh,
For the
really?
Phoenix range. I thought I saw, yeah, he does have a fleet beacon, so I'm sure he got that
I'm sure
upgrade.
he does. And here we're going to see a little bit of poke. But we need the EMPs. The EMPs need to go off here. And they are going to be good, but it looks like the Viking count isn't nearly high enough. He's now targeting down the Colossus, and now the Colossus are just rampaging down everything. The Phoenix count is pretty low, though. Oh,
But still,
man.
the Phoenixes are doing the job and tanking for the Vikings and taking out, or taking for the Colossi and taking out most of the Vikings.
Yep. And this is how Jim likes to win. I mean, he's just doing it with better control over his opponent. The Viking count is very flimsy at this point. And actually, the whole army composition is pretty flimsy. He's going to poke in, try to kill some Colossus here. But there's just too much. Too good.
And now, Apocalypse might have a tough time defending.
Yeah.
A lot of Apocalypse supplies in production at any one given point.
Needs to get up.
And
yeah.
all of Jim's army supplies are going to be in this ball. Except for maybe one Phoenix being produced.
A tough position for our Terran player to be in Apocalypse. Probably has to give up his 3rd base pretty soon here. And he just doesn't have the bank to really cope with this. Now getting lifting up yet again with all 3 of his bases. And Apocalypse knows he needs to meet his opponent out on the battlefield. Now, it's a little bit manageable. Let me see, actually. 11 Vikings. Yeah, it's a little manageable. But it's still going to be a tough situation against 6 Colossi.
Yeah, I mean, this is a incredibly tough situation. Maybe his only chance is if Jim somehow attacks into his main base and he can get some crazy concave and split between the buildings or something.
But I don't think Jim's going to do that. He's too smart.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And on the low ground, look how scary Jim's army is at this point. He has so many charge lots and Archons and Colossi. Even without the Viking, or without the Phoenixes, I think he'll still be completely fine.
There he is. And he's just going to maintain this composition, knowing that Apocalypse can't keep up.
Yeah, and Apocalypse just has no economy at this point either. No mining bases at all. And he can't actually afford to produce any more units.
EMPs will go off here pretty soon. Can he get them? Yes, he'll get a couple, but it's just not going to be enough.
Oh, the Colossi are shooting that command center though. That hurts them.
Okay, Marines and Marauders are moving back. Stalker's not in position
Couple
just
Colossi
yet,
just shooting
but
refineries.
the Vikings are dying so fast. And now another wave of units. And that's going to do it.
Yeah,
as
and that
Apocalypse
fight-
can't stop this.
That fight went about as well as it could have for Apocalypse too. A lot of the Colossi were just shooting refineries and a command center at the beginning. But still, it's not enough units.